Alright, it's time for another noob trap video, and this time I will be targeting vampiric, nocturnal, or dark pals in general, and why they might be a little bit of a noob trap for people in regards to mainly transport. So for me personally, I tend to use these German tides instead of these Kilamaris in one base, and I also prefer having this Sirius over Nocturnal as well on my ranch pals, as well as pretty much any production pal really, and I'm gonna go into the reason for this. Alright, so this is a quick mock-up base I made, just because I wanted an extra expedition station next to my base, and also just for the purpose of this video. So I got a couple of ranches with mixed ranch pals, we got the Soothsayers for the bones, we got Doomans for high quality pal oil, some Kelpsies, and then some Chickapees and Musarinas as well. And then we also have a ton of plantations with a lot of Prunelias, just for that boost to the drop rate from the crops. And then I have my German tides as well. So this base right now is running no nocturnal pals except for the naturally nocturnal Prunelia and Soothsayers. And mainly what this is going to show you here is how this base works with and without nocturnal on the pals. And then the second mock-up base here, a bunch of ranches and then some skill fruit trees. So all these things have different priorities when it comes to transporting. Pals will want to transport loose food on the ground, stuff like milk and eggs first. And even plantation food before they go and get the high quality pal oil, the bones, and the skill fruits from the fruit tree. So if you have a base like this one here, you're running a bunch of nocturnal musarinas in this one. The pals or the transport pals are never gonna manage to actually transport anything except for the milk, because they tend to just go and grab one milk at a time instead of like waiting until there's 50 milk or something. They will run towards a skill fruit tree and then just turn around. So you can see a bunch of nocturnal pals here, and once the day starts, all the skill fruits are still there, nothing has been transported, they will just stay here forever really. The transport pals will never get around to doing it, they'll just run between these musarinas and collect that instead. And even if you check your boxes, you might find that you have like thousands of milk and eggs, but almost no bones or high quality pal oil, because that's also lower on the priority list, or whatever you want to call that transport thing. So then this base again, here we have the nocturnal cows and these nocturnal watering pals, the Kilamaris I was talking about before. And you will see the Noclums, they're sort of clearing the food on those plantations that are closest to the ranches, because they'll run between the cows and the chickens that are nocturnal, and then up to the nearest plantation, and then back down again. Well, if you spread the plantations like I have here, I have a bunch of like lettuce and wheat up in the upper reaches of the base. They'll never transport that. So here I'll get a ton of berries and a ton of tomatoes, but almost zero wheat and zero lettuce. That stuff will just stack up, and they will absolutely not transport any bones or high quality pal oil. That will just stay at zero until that stuff despawns on the ground. So nothing there working. You can see here, just a ton of bones and high quality pal oil there in the ranch. So here, I've put Sirius instead of Nocturnals on the cows, but I kept the Kilamaris, and you can see that the pals are still struggling to keep up with just like the plantation stuff. The Kilamaris will keep on watering, and the Soothsayers will still not be having the bones transported at all. The high quality pal oil is still on the ground, and there's still plantations that are not being cleared at all. The food will just keep on stacking up. We're just gonna show this a little bit sped up here. And then another thing you might notice as well is the Noclum running to that Soothsayer chest and up again, down and up, because it's not going to those central chests, which are closer, like pathing wise. They will just go to the one that's closest in like an XY axis. So that's another thing just to keep in mind in this video. But you can see the entire night has passed here, and they're still not transporting any bones or high quality pal oil, and they've not managed to clear out all the plantations. And these chests, I just want to show that there is space in them for the food. So if this was like a freezer or something, just showing how it works with that chest down there by the Soothsayer, that you do need to keep that pathing thing into account as well. But you can see here, no bones being transported, they're just going up to the food, and still the top reaches there of the lettuce and salad is not really being transported at all. So this is with just these 3 Kilamaris really affecting this transport thing as well. Okay, so then we're going to use the surgery table and just replace all the nocturnal pals with Sirius and see what happens here. So this is a couple of minutes into the night, all the cows are asleep, so no food, and the Noclems are actually transporting these skill fruits this time. So even if you do like a 1-by-1 comparison, you'll take a Musarina with Sirius, you'll take a Musarina with Nocturnal, compare them next to each other. The Nocturnal one might produce more during the course of a day, but the Sirius one will actually help your transport pals transport those lower priority things, like the bones or even the gold coins from Dumoods. And in your main base, you might notice that like your stone pits and stuff like that are always at 9,999. So this affects any base really. And what I mean by a noob trap here is that more experienced players can probably balance this out with just mixing the pals into the correct base, not having the food in the same base as whatever. Your main base setup might be different. But for the average player who just wants to make these sort of like quick bases, it just doesn't work out. So you can see here that now they've actually finished transporting all that food from the plantations, they finished transporting all the eggs, and now they're transporting the gold, the bones, the high quality pal oil, and all that stuff instead. So that's really the issue here with running these Nocturnal pals on everything, like having Nocturnal on all the stuff means that the lower priority stuff will just never get transported. And once you reach this stage of the game where you have your maxed out remarkable craftsmanship, maxed souls, everything kind of pals, the bottleneck will always be transport unless you have the player doing it. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.